Let's be honest, nobody opens After Effects for the first time and thinks, wow, this seems nice. Nobody. You open it, 1,000 panels appear. The screen looks like the control room of a nuclear power plant.
Oh shit, wrong button, evacuate!
Some guy on YouTube says, don't worry guys, this is actually very simple, and then immediately starts talking about pre-compositions, graph editors, expressions, null objects, and 17 different keyboard shortcuts you're apparently supposed to memorize. And somehow, you already have a headache. I've always loved motion graphics. The problem is, I've never loved building them, because creating the animation usually takes longer than coming up with the idea, and that's why Remotion caught my attention. If you've never heard of Remotion before, imagine somebody looked at After Effects and said, what if animations were just React components? That's basically Remotion. Videos become code, animations become components. And that's where things start getting interesting, because code can be copied, code can be reused, code can be modified, and most importantly, code can be generated by AI. So instead of opening After Effects, I opened ChatGPT and typed, create a modern animated bar chart where the bars smoothly grow from 0. A few seconds later, I had the generated animation, not a tutorial, not a YouTube video, not a Stack Overflow thread from 2018, actual working animation code. Then I tried a startup dashboard. It worked. Then animated statistics. It worked. Then an Apple-style product reveal. It worked. And that was the moment I realized something. The bottleneck wasn't animation anymore. The bottleneck was imagination. And that's a weird realization, because for years, whenever I wanted to create something cool, my first thought wasn't, what's the idea? It was, do I remember how to do this? That's a completely different question. Imagine a musician sitting down to write a song and thinking, before I can be creative, I need to remember where the piano is. That's basically what creative software feels like sometimes. You spend so much energy operating the machine that you forget why you opened the machine in the first place. And After Effects is probably the greatest example of this. I swear every After Effects project goes through the exact same stages. Stage 1, confidence. This is going to take 10 minutes. Stage 2, confusion. Why is that layer behind the other layer? Stage 3, anger. Why is everything moving? Stage 4, Google. Stage 5, acceptance. You are now watching a tutorial from somebody with 37 subscribers who somehow understands quantum physics level animation concepts, and somehow they save your life every single time. But Remotion feels different, because when you're working with code, things become reusable. You build something once, then use it again, and again, and again, which is how software developers think. Developers are lazy, and I mean that as a compliment. The best developers are professional problem eliminators. If something takes 10 minutes and happens every day, they'll happily spend 3 hours automating it, which sounds completely insane until you realize they're absolutely right, because then it never takes 10 minutes again. And Remotion brings that mindset into motion graphics. That's what makes it so interesting. You're not just building animations, you're building animation systems, and that's a huge difference. Imagine you need a graph animation for one video. After Effects is great. Imagine you need graph animations for 200 videos. Now things start getting interesting, because a Remotion component doesn't care whether it's rendering one chart or 1,000. It just keeps going, like a very enthusiastic intern that never asks for coffee breaks. And once AI enters the picture, things get even weirder, because now AI isn't just helping you create animations, it's helping you create the machines that create animations. That's a very different game. I started noticing this when I stopped asking AI for animations and started asking it for components. Build me a reusable chart component. Build me a reusable counter. Build me a reusable dashboard card. Build me a reusable statistic block. And suddenly, I wasn't building videos anymore. I was building Lego pieces. And every new video became a matter of snapping pieces together, which is exactly how software scales. And honestly, that's the moment Remotion finally clicked for me, because I stopped comparing it to After Effects. That's the mistake most people make. They look at Remotion and ask, can it replace After Effects? Wrong question. The better question is, what becomes possible when motion graphics become software? That's where things start getting really interesting. For years, the workflow looked like this: idea, software, result. Now it looks more like this: idea, description, result. And Remotion sits right in the middle of that shift, because AI is getting incredibly good at writing code, and Remotion is built entirely on code, which means the two fit together almost perfectly. Suddenly, I wasn't dragging keyframes around. I wasn't fighting timelines. I wasn't spending 30 minutes fixing a graph editor curve. I was having a conversation. Make it smoother. Done. Make it faster. Done. Make it feel premium. Done. Make it look like Apple designed it. Mostly done. And honestly, that workflow feels completely different. Not because it's replacing creativity, but because it's removing friction. Now, I'm not saying Remotion replaces After Effects. It doesn't. Professional motion designers aren't going anywhere. The best designers still have something AI doesn't: taste, judgment, experience, storytelling. AI doesn't magically give you those things. Trust me, if you've ever asked AI to make something modern and it responds with glowing neon gradients, floating crypto charts, and enough glass morphism to blind a small village, you know exactly what I mean. But what AI does give you is leverage, and Remotion multiplies that leverage. Because once animations become code, AI becomes a surprisingly powerful creative assistant. It can build, modify, refactor, experiment, and help you move dramatically faster, which is why I think we're still early. Right now, I'm generating charts, dashboards, UI animations, and product reveals. 5 years from now, who knows? Maybe entire YouTube channels will generate their motion graphics automatically. Maybe entire ad campaigns. Maybe entire documentaries. At this point, I've stopped making predictions because every time I do, AI immediately does something even crazier a week later. But I do know this. For the first time in a long time, motion graphics feels exciting again. Not because the software changed, but because the relationship between creators and software is changing. And if you've ever spent an entire afternoon fixing a single keyframe, you'll understand exactly why that feels a little bit like magic.